Hello. This is another camera confidence practice plus live coding practice. And as always, the warning, please do not watch this video. It's 100% for the sake of my own practice, and it's not made for to bring any value to teach you any programming concepts whatsoever. So I'm not going to edit it, or I'm not going to do anything to it. And I started the stopwatch, the 30-minute stopwatch thing. Oh no, wait a minute. Let me do the 30-minute done 0 start. I started a 30-minute timer. So I believe that I want to become better at or in English, and also at writing code and describing what I'm doing. So at live coding. And for that, I'm going to do many things, but among them, I believe that if I want to become better at live coding, I need to do the actual live coding and record myself, record my screen, and do something, at least something. So I feel like it is important to me enough. It's important enough for me to commit on for doing this practice on the daily basis. So 30 minutes every day. I want to do this consistently every day, for like until I feel or I notice that I became good enough in English and in live coding. So that's the goal. And this is, I would say, it's practice number 1, but I've done some sort of practices before. So maybe it's not number 1, but it's among the first 10, I would say. Okay, so what am I gonna do? I'm working on currently on a CSS course, and I have a script and an outline for this course, and this is on the screen. You can see some bits of work from that course. So I'm not gonna do any crazy things. I'm just gonna open the script and like that one, and I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna pick up some topics from the script, and oh no, I don't need that. And I'll just try to do something on the fly, so no crazy things. Let's see what I'd like to start with. First of all, I am using PHP Storm here, and it is an amazing tool, and I've been using it for years already. I am happy with it. I'm using it for professional development. I'm using it at work. A lot of my colleagues, they are using it right now, or they have been using it. They were using it at some other places or companies that I worked for. So this is a great tool, and it's not free. You can purchase a 30-day, or you can download a free version and activate a 30-day trial version. After that period, you need to they ask you to pay for the PHP Storm and to continue using it. But it's worth the money. It's among many IDEs and code editors that I have used, this is the best tool that I've ever used. So I would highly recommend PHP Storm. If you are considering professional software development, and so this is like, this starts to be like kind of like promotion. It's not. So I'm really happy with the tool, and I'm going to be using it in these videos. For the actual course, I'm going to use Visual Studio Code because Visual Studio Code is a free piece of software, and especially if you're a novice or a beginner programmer or a beginner aspiring software developer. So I think it's great. It's a great approach to not purchase any tools until you try several free, like the best, like Visual Studio Code is among the best free code editors available on the market. It's free. So maybe there are some paid versions. I don't know. Maybe I should research this topic more. But Visual Studio Code is good. Sublime Text is good and interesting, and it was the first actually code editor that I saw the so-called fuzzy search in, and then I discovered it in PHP Storm later. Maybe I wonder whether the Intel, like JetBrains, which is JetBrains, whether these guys implemented it later than the Sublime Text, but what I'm veering off. So, okay, Sublime Text is a great free editor. You can pay for it, but Visual Studio or Sublime Text or Atom, probably Atom. So there are many free code editors, and I would encourage you to start if you're considering a career in software development, or you need to edit, or you need to, maybe you're a student and you're working on a short-term software projects, and you want to write some HTML, edit some HTML code or CSS or JavaScript or maybe PHP, or maybe Python or Java. I'm not sure whether, but I think that the VS Code should support Java and Python, maybe C#. C# for sure. It's from Microsoft, so it should support C#. So I would start from VS Code or Sublime Text, try those, and actually grow to the level, maybe at least a junior software developer, so that I mastered a lot of important topics, and I create my own projects, and I've done that. And so, and after that, maybe when I get the job, or I would download. Okay, so, I would download after that a free trial version of PHP Storm, or maybe PyCharm, or maybe if you are on the venture of becoming a front-end developer, so maybe WebStorm. So they've got plenty of tools. I would try a free trial version, and then when I get the first paid job, I would then consider purchasing the paid version. But this is a great tool, and this is what I'm going to use, because these videos, they are not meant to be published for a broad range of people who are trying to get into software development. These are for me. I practice English here and live coding. So let's get to the actual live coding. And I'm gonna start with creating a file. Okay, let's name it live1 HTML. So this is gonna be the HTML file that, so it has a name live1 dot and then HTML extension. So this means that I am going to write or have a content that adheres the HTML, some sort of HTML, some version of HTML language of HTML. So when some program or when a human or me or other people, they open this file, like HTML is expected to be there. Or when the browser or an IDE or code editor or some other software, so not a human but a software, piece of software, opens this file, this .html extension, means the software would use this .html extension to determine what kind of content is inside of this file, and it would expect to have a valid, I would say, HTML here. So we're setting up ourselves for success here, for a success in terms of the browser recognizing that this is an HTML file. So okay, when I dragged this file to the browser, I'm using Chrome here. So when I dragged this HTML file to the browser, it beautifully opened a blank page. So, and as you can see, there is this path to the file, which is when I open the file, it's when I stopped at this point where I was trying to teach some probably well-known basics for all the people, but still. Let's see. So when I dragged this HTML file over to the browser, it opened a new tab. The browser opened a new tab, actually. And what's amazing here is that, well, I would say when you use this software, and here I'm using two actually pieces of software, two programs, two applications. One is IDE, Integrated Development Environment, which is this PHP Storm window, and the other piece of software or software application, or like two applications, the other one is Google Chrome. And these two applications, they are like different applications, and they work in their own like little worlds, I would say. So when I'm here in PHP Storm and I select a file and I'm like dragging or doing something, so I'm interacting with the contents of PHP Storm, like the first application. And when I'm interacting with its contents, and then, so I selected the file. Yes, this file it actually exists on a hard drive here, but am I recording? Yes. On the hard drive here, but I'm selecting it in PHP Storm. So when I do this, it's PHP Storm's environment, and I'm clicking on the file in PHP Storm, and I'm dragging this file in PHP Storm? Well, there's this little badge or like box with the file's name. So it all like PHP Storm handles that. And right now I'm inside PHP Storm and I drag over to a different program to Google Chrome, and I still have this box with the file name that is in style of that is in PHP Storm style. So I actually don't know whether it's yes, it seems like it's PHP Storm. So when I drag it over to the Google Chrome and I release the mouse button, Google Chrome actually opens that file. So it seems like these two pieces of software kind of like they know how to talk to each other. They work together, or they know how to work together. And so now Google Chrome opens it opened the HTML file, and in the URL you can see that it's not in the address bar, that it's not a URL that you are used to. So it's not something like http s//google.com. So it's not Google. It's not a link. It's not a link that is common to the internet. So if you inspect some links, so you see that it's HTTPS and internet protocol and some like an address. So here we have a very different string value. It starts with this file, then a colon, and then colon, and then 3 slashes and a like users, theme of projects, YouTube, CSS, line 1. So this thing, it seems like a file path. And if you are a Windows user and you've never ever worked with either Linux, so it's like Ubuntu, Kubuntu, Mint, whatever. So it's like Linux-based operating system. Or you've never worked with Mac OS, Macintosh operating system. So this would be new for you. So you know some like drive labels. So you're aware of C drive, and on Windows you have C drive, and then some like directory, like program files or something like that. So it's like your C drive and so on. So you're more familiar with that, but it's not that. Wait a minute. Let me repeat this process again. So I'm going to drag over this file name. So here on macOS, it's not that different. So it's still a file path. Instead of drives and macOS is still a Linux-based operating system, maybe Unix-based. So macOS, what Wiki tells us? Let's see. Wikipedia. Written family Unix. Okay, Unix based. So I'm not that deep into I don't have an extensive knowledge of operating systems. I can use them, and I have some knowledge, but not that like too much of that. So this is a file path in the format that is friendly, or that is common to like macOS. So it's a file path. And here, first, the address starts from like the file protocol. So we here in the address bar, the browser, we tell the browser, well, it's actually PHP Storm told the Google Chrome. So like, hey, Google Chrome, or hey, Chrome, take this file, and here is the full file path, and please open this file and use the so-called file protocol. So it's basically like here is the path to the file that I'm asking you to open, and please search for this file locally. This is, it's not accurate, so maybe it's possible to open some remote files that are located remotely. I doubt it. I think that you would need to use another protocol for that in the address bar. So, but still, so here we have a local file name. Okay, an empty area, an empty window or viewport. So because we've got an empty HTML file, and let me start with creating a basic empty proper HTML5 page. So we start it with doc type declaration, with a doc type declaration. It's going to be, is it? Yes, it's going to be HTML5. So then the next thing we'll go is the root HTML element. I'm going to use Emmet here, so I'll just type a tag name and I hit tab and let PHP Storm do the work of auto-completing, or not auto. I don't like this one. Yes, it's auto-completing, but it's a lazy language. Letting PHP do the work in putting missing symbols, character symbols, to have a proper complete declaration of, to have a proper complete HTML element, which is the root HTML element. Okay, so enter, because we want to have it beautifully formatted. And now it's probably telling me that I should declare the lang attribute. Yes, missing required lang attribute, and it is required. Well, you can live without, or you can have an HTML page without a lang attribute, and it probably work, but it probably will work. But I would encourage you to create your HTML pages to strive for valid, so-called valid HTML pages, because then you are making sure that the page is being understood by understood and properly understood, interpreted, and then rendered in the browser by a broader number of broader range of devices and applications that are working with HTML, So, okay, lang, let's say English, and it's ISO 2, probably. Is it ISO 2? Lang, the default is unknown. BCP. So here PHP Storm doesn't tell us about the format of language. Okay, well, I'm not gonna dive deep into the lang attribute, but let's continue. So next I'm gonna generate the head, and the title will be live coding 1, and then I'll create the body element. And for now, it's going to be an empty body element, and let's refresh the page. so that let's test, let's see whether there are some changes. Are there any changes in the browser? So refresh, live coding, 1. Amazing. So it means that our HTML now is in the browser, and if I open the source code, and it's there. So great. Now I will create a what? I will create a let's use the unsorted list. Let's create an unsorted list. This is a miracle of modern technology. An unordered list. So, and it'll have 3 list items. 3 list items, and those list items, and we're aiming to create a navigation bar. This is going to be like a top header navigation bar. So the first item will be a link. Well, I'm not going to specify the link, but it's going to be Hades. I really like this game, and well, yeah, we'll have the second list item and the third one. The second will be, let's say, Frostpunk. And I'm using these games in the actual course, so it's top content. And the third one will be This War of Mine. I really like those 2 games. They are amazing. So if I refresh the page, here is our list, and it's unordered list, so we can see these bullet points here and links. So great, a default list. Now let's style it with CSS. So I'm going to use a embedded kind of style. So I'm going to use the style HTML element. I'm going to write the styles there. And first of all, so I will assume that you know nothing about CSS, like at all. No knowledge, no prior knowledge of CSS. So I would like then to teach you some basic concepts about CSS. So in 99% of the cases, you will work with you will write the so-called CSS rules. And a CSS rule is just a bit of kind of like an independent bit of like code, so several lines of code that tells the browser. So it consists of, I would say, primarily 2 parts. So the first one is called the selector. So there you specify and so the 2 parts. Let me start from part number 2. So in part number 2, or 2 pieces. The second piece, the first piece, you tell there what elements on the web page you want to kind of make prettier, or what elements on the web page you want to change how they look. And the second part, the second piece of the CSS rule, you specify how or what you are going to change for those elements. So two pieces. Selector, what elements we're going to change, and then the second part, it's like a block, or where it's a list of things that you're going to improve, change about those elements. So you can select or elements to then modify to write CSS rule in many ways. So you have plenty of CSS selectors. I'm going to be lazy right now, so we only have the one unordered list on our page. So I'm going to use a tag selector. So for the tag selector, the tag name. So it requires us to write UL unordered list. And that's it. This is the selector, actually. So nothing fancy. And then I will write the curly braces. I'm going to put a pair of curly braces. So here is a space, and it's not required. But for writing a decent styles, CSS rules, and it's better to make them a little bit, or a lot, user friendly. it's better to make sure that they are nice looking. And having a space here, it's a proven tactic to or approach to make them better. So, okay. Now, between these opening and closing curly braces, we write a list of things that we want to modify or we want to change in actually all UL elements on the page. But it happens so that we have only one. So, well, as I said, I'm lazy. You can do this differently. So what I would like to do here is I'd like to turn it into a flex box. So I will say display flex. And now these list items should be displayed not as a column, not like one after another or like as a deck, but they should become follow horizontally, not vertically. Oh yeah, right. I like this. So refresh the page. Boom. There you go. So they're now here as one row. In one row, they're displayed in one row. But what I don't like is that this looks like quite messy. So first of all, I don't want to have these bullet points. So I don't remember actually what the Oh, and I don't remember what this is. This is a declaration. So what property I change and value I set. I'm not going to dive into, and I'm not going to explain what a flex is, display flex. So it's a little bit more of an advanced topic. So just let's skip this part. But I would like to say something. If I remember this correctly, it's list style, and probably it's none. So let's test that. Yeah. There you go. No bullet points. What I also don't like is that our links here, they're kind of like glued together. There is no gap. There is no space in between them. And I want to have that gap. And actually, you know what? I want to have kind of a nice border underneath our UL. So I want to have it like take up all the available space horizontally. So let's add another property declaration. It's going to be border bottom, and it's going to be something like 2 pixels solid royal blue. Let's have it like this and refresh. There you go. There is a nice border. What I don't like about the current appearance of our page is that there is these little gaps in between, and I think that's because our body has margins. Yes, so let's also write a rule for body element. I'm not going to dive into what margins are, well, because I am lazy, and actually the time is over right now. So there you go. There is nothing. Okay, and so ULs, they have margins too. So sad. So I'm gonna turn off the default margin for the unordered list. There you go. Nothing. So, but there is this little padding, and also let's reset that to 0.2. So now our list items, they start at the position 0. So no offset, nothing. So no space between. Now I would like to have our navigation bar to have like a little, very slight background. So for that, I'm gonna use maybe blue, or is this like something like light blue? And let's see. Yeah, light blue. Okay, it's not pretty. I admit I'm not a designer, and it's hard to create something pretty right from the start. But I'm gonna use another type of. So I will write something like this. UL Li, and now let's add some padding to our Li elements. And I wanted something like 10 pixels and 20 pixels. 10 pixels from the top and bottom, and 20 pixels from the right and left. There you go, this is better. Now let's say that we want to justify content. This distributes this leftover space, this property. With it, we can configure how the browser will distribute the free space that is left in this container, in this UL element. After all the items, it calculates their size, and so there are three li elements. So let's say we want something like space between. What about this? Let's see. Boom. And here is our navigation menu. And I really don't like that they are kind of like stretched to the sides. So let's say that we want something like center, and also want a gap between them, something like 30 pixels. So they are at the center, and all the free space is distributed like evenly to the sides. Great. Now we have a navigation bar, and I'm gonna finish this live coding session on that note. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And I hope that I have improved just a little bit during this session. So see you tomorrow.